Significant news for the climate. The vital Atlantic current system, the thing that brings warm tropical water to raise the temperatures around Europe, appears significantly more likely to fall apart than scientists previously thought. Tom Rivett-Carnac is with us, former political strategist for the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, now the co-host of the Outrage and Optimism podcast. Good morning.
Good morning.
I will wager that this is one of those things that has probably passed people by. So let's go back to basics at the start. I said vital. Why so vital?
Well, you're absolutely right. What's called the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circuit, or AMOC, is a major ocean current that carries warm water north across the Atlantic. You can think of it as a conveyor belt for ocean circulation. In the UK, if you were to take the same latitude, we would be sort of halfway up Canada, but we're much warmer. This is the reason. And crucially, this conveyor has two stable states: a strong mode, which we live in now, and a much weaker one that has existed during ice ages. And the concern is that we're pushing it from one state to the other.
And if it does go into the weaker mode, it's not just a question of us being colder. It affects all kinds of things, including, quite crucially, agriculture.
Absolutely. So agriculture in particular could be severely disruptive. The OECD has predicted, because this, of course, doesn't just affect the UK, it's a global impact, that half the land used for wheat and maize around the world could become unsuitable. So the impact of that on humanity overall would be devastating. And one of the things that's come out of this report is not only that the models that were previously used, now that they have combined real world observations, they can see it's the more pessimistic scenarios that are more likely. And if we did trigger it, and as you said, the likelihood is rising, the cooling could happen very quickly.
When you say if we trigger it, what do you mean by that?
Well, so what's happening is that as Greenland is melting and more fresh water is going to the North Atlantic, it's affecting the salinity, and that's changing the power of this current. So what they found in this report is an estimated slowdown of between 42 and 58% in the coming decades before the end of the century. That level is almost certain to end in collapse because, like so many things in the climate system, you push it far enough and then it gets to a tipping point and then you can't really turn it back on again. Interesting.
So what would we need to do to stop that at this point, to stop that from happening?
Well, look, I mean, there's no guarantees in life, but this is happening because we're pumping greenhouse gas emissions into the atmosphere and we're warming the climate. And the longer this goes on, the greater the chance of crossing the tipping point. And, you know, the red warning light has been flashing for so long, we've kind of become used to it and it's hard to see it. But, you know, if you'd been smoking for 20 years, you'd been told you had a 50% chance of getting cancer, you'd be pretty wise to give up the cigarettes. Does this guarantee you won't get cancer? There's no guarantees in life. It's kind of the wrong question. We have time to do something that can potentially make a profound difference to us and to all of nature, all humanity for now and into the future. We should do it while we have the chance.
Mm-hmm. But will world leaders take that moment? Because right now, many of them are distracted, let's say, with other things.
Well, this is such an interesting moment and it's such an interesting test for humanity. There are always millions of things going on. There's always crises. There's always challenges. And the task for world leaders is to lift their sights and say, if this were to happen, if we were to lose half of arable land around the world, all of the issues that we face today would be completely dwarfed by the context we would get into. So that's a leadership moment. It's on them. And if we just expand time forward, go forward a couple of generations and look back to this moment, it's going to be sort of completely unimaginable that we would not have actually taken action. That's on world leaders, but it's on all of us to demand it as well. That's what will make it happen.
Tom Rivett-Carnac from the Outrage and Optimism podcast. Thank you.